What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry, the Ginger Runner, here for another Ginger Runner Live. And tonight's guest, I'm really excited to have her on. She's an amazing ultra runner and just runner in general, an incredible athlete. I'm warning you off the bat that I'm a little under the weather. Allergies in LA seem to be at the highest, the worstest. Obviously, it's playing some tricks on my mind. So tonight I will be drinking lovely anti-allergy tea and water and all the good liquids and stuff like that. But I'm very, very excited for tonight's episode. Kaci Lickteig is on the show. Athlete. I'm running off the bat. I'm a little under the weather. Ginger Runner. And as soon as I start, the phone rings. Of course, the phone is going to ring because no one's home to actually pick it up. Welcome, everybody, to Ginger Runner Live. I would like to thank you for joining. If you are watching live, join us in the chat room. This is one of the cool features is that I can interact with you guys live, and you will be able to ask questions of Kaci Lickteig right here on the show. That's right. I have a guest today, and she's an incredible athlete, an incredible ultra runner. I can't wait to ask her questions about races that happened this year, races that happened in 2014, because I was going through her ultra sign up, and let's be honest, I haven't seen that many ones. There's a joke in there, and honestly, I should be thinking about those jokes before I say them. There was a lot of ones. She's done incredibly well at a lot of races, and I'm really stoked to have Kaci Lickteig on the show. So let me introduce her. Welcome, Kaci. How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes, finally we have you on. And I have to point out that in shows previous, Kaci has been in the chat room and joining the conversation, which is so cool to have an ultra runner, an elite ultra runner, jumping into the chat room and interacting with people. And when I see her in there, I'm like, oh, Kaci Lickteig is in the chat room. That is wrong. I have been mispronouncing her last name. It is Lickteig. And a wonderful fan brought that to my attention, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, she hates me. But Kaci, I'm so sorry. I've been butchering it.
No worries, nobody. Like I said, nobody gets it right the first time.
So for those in the chat room, it's Lickteig. The G is silent. The E and the it's a German name, German heritage.
Yeah. Just goofy.
That's goofy. So I'm really excited to have you on the show. I was telling you before the show, but the live viewers haven't heard this. But I first kind of got my taste of how badass you are at Western States last year. Pretty much every aid station that we were hanging out at for our runner, you would come through, just blasting through. But you would stop at your. You had some friends there that were helping you out. They had their little aid station set up. You would stop and take your time and get what you needed, and then you would blast off. And I hadn't met you before. I hadn't seen you run before, but it was amazing to see you storm through in and out of the aid stations. You ended up placing an incredible 6th place at your first Western States, which is just an incredible position to finish that race. I mean, that race is brutal. And then you made the comment just before the show that I was like, you killed that race. And you're like, actually, that race killed me. Let's talk a little bit about Western before we kind of get into your running history and stuff like that, because I really want to talk to you about that. What happened that day? I mean, you did really well. Did you not feel like you did?
Oh, no. Well, it was going well until about mile 40 when everything just decided to, like, my legs just gave out. I had hip issues. I had quads were already getting blown. It was more my hip flexors. It was a power struggle to get to the finish. I wanted to drop many times, but I was so focused and driven that I didn't want to, and I had, like, if you read my blog, there's where I had the pact with Nick Clark where we were going to finish no matter what. We were going to gut it out. Because I was basically from Forest Hill on was pretty much walking, if I could walk, and just hobbling down the hills. I was able to kind of hike up the hills, but it really torched me. And then like Joe Yuhan, he helped me right before Rucky Chucky, and for some reason having like that help, I was able to finish, but it was brutal.
A brutal finish. I mean, that the race is tough with all the elevation, especially down. It can play and wreak havoc on your knees, your hips, and everything like that. But you finished, and you finished in incredible 6th place. as I mentioned. And yeah, you mentioned Nick Clark, so you guys had a pact where you would not give up no matter what. I mean, Nick had a really rough day too, but he still finished.
Yeah.
Um, do you? I guess you maybe not, but do you regret pushing through all that pain for that finish? Did you feel the aftermath for weeks after that race? Did it pull you from training or from future races at all?
Just for the first, probably the week after, I didn't do anything. Barely was walking around Lake Tahoe, that area, but it was so much fun just hanging out, and I would never regret finishing ever again. I mean, that was such an amazing experience.
And with sixth place, that's an automatic entry into the 2015 Western States. And by looking at your ultra sign up, you're going to the training weekends. I'm assuming then you're also racing Western States.
Correct.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Are you altering your training at all this year for the big dance?
Yeah, we're with Jason Coop, my coach. He's helping me try to tweak it a little bit more so that we can focus on Western and make sure that all the ends are tied up from last year.
That's excellent. Can't wait to see what happens. All right, well let's talk a little bit about kind of your origin story because you're a superhero to me. So I always like finding out superheroes' origin stories. There's a lot of fascinating facts on research that I've done about you that I really want to talk about today. But you started as a road runner, as cross country and a track athlete at a fairly young age, but it wasn't necessarily competitive. Is that right? So kind of take us through how you started running.
Right. I really didn't even like running. I pretty much did every sport to not run. So I got talked into my junior year with one of my best friends. She was on the cross country team, and I was a volleyball player. She asked me if I would join the team because they needed one more person to make the team full. And so
Okay.
I, being naive, said, hey, why not? The week before school started, practice starts, why not? Haven't ran the whole year, whatever. So first practice, we have two-a-days. Oh my gosh. I was like, what is this? In the morning and afternoon?
Right.
I was like blown over by that. But just I started doing that, and then my mom had quit smoking and picked up running for that, and so she would be running around like a half mile at a time, and she invited me to run with her and go to the gym with her, and I thought that was a lot of fun just spending time with her, and it just kind of progressed, and we both got kind of competitive about it, and that we would look at each other on the treadmill and see if we could make it 20 minutes. If we could make it 20 minutes, then we would try to outdo each other just maybe by either like increasing the speed or going 1 minute faster or longer. It was so it just kind of curtailed from that, and then just I started becoming passionate about it, seeing how it was reflecting that I could do something. I'm very type A, and so I
Yeah.
will like if I can get better at something, I'm going to keep continuing to get better. And seeing those results made me really excited. And so I just wanted to do better for myself. And then being on a team was absolutely fun to see just how we could do as a team. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember a long time ago, I read, I think it was Megan Hicks's article on iRunFar that she did with you, which is awesome. I would definitely go read it if you haven't, if you're watching live. Um, but I remember mentioning that or remember reading that you mentioned you weren't a very good runner up front. Um, when did you kind of realize, oh wait, this is something that maybe I'm good at, or maybe I have talent at?
Um,
Was it
my first,
college?
well, it was basically when I got out of high school. Like I never made it to state, never made it to anything like that for
Yeah.
cross country or track. But when I went to a couple years of community college and I ran just local road races and had a blast doing that. And then I decided that I was going into physical therapy school, but I needed some extra, like I needed to go to like UNK, which they had a running team there. And I loved running so much, and I went to the coach and I was like, "Can I just be a walk-on? Here's some of my road racing times, which were not impressive at all for a cross-country track
Hmm.
team. It was a Division two, and he looked at my times and he's like, "Sure, why not? Come join the team." wasn't happy to have you come on. And so that first year, I mean, it was just that's when I decided, like, discovered that I actually had some talent, but it was all hard work. Like, I
Yeah.
was blessed with the genes to run. It has been hard work and just drivenness. But that's kind of where I decided or found that I had potential.
Yeah, see, I like that a lot because so often I look at elites and as a mid packer, you can't help but go, I will never be able to attain that. I could never finish top three, top five, anything like that in a really competitive race. It's just never going to happen. But I like hearing stories of people like you who work hard. Maybe you don't feel like you were blessed with the genes born to run really, really fast, but yet you work hard and you prove that that may not necessarily be the case, and that hard work does pay off. I really respect that. I think that's really cool. So you were primarily a road runner for a while. When did like the trail thing kick in? Do you still live in Nebraska, by the way? Are you still
I
Nebraskan? You,
still Midwest,
Omaha or Kearney or
Omaha.
yeah. So in my mind, I'm going. I am so naive when it comes to the Midwest, as far as there's no trails there. When did you kind of find the trail community? When did that passion spread up?
There's actually they're different type of trails what I would consider than what you guys have on the east and west coast and everything. They're more or less more loop type style courses. But I actually got involved with some friends that they had ran like Leadville and things like that, and they were like, "There's a race down in Kansas City that we're gonna go to. It's the Psycho Waiko, and it's gonna be cold and usually brutal temperatures, whatever." And I was like,
That's a
"Okay,
50K, right? That's a 50K.
right, yep."
Hmm.
And I was all excited. I'm like, "Heck, why not?" I like trying new things, and so I decided to go down with them. I had no clue how to pace myself, how to do anything. I was so nervous and scared. I think I was more nervous about that race than I have been for any races. But I remember getting out there and just running with some of the people and just like, how do you pace yourself? And I stayed in control and I had the time of my life. And that's when it really hit that, oh my gosh, trails are where it's at.
And you won that race, right?
Right.
Yeah, which is amazing. That's so amazing. So I guess that dovetails right into the question that I really wanted to ask you about is training in Nebraska for these huge mountain ultras. Um, that's got to be tough. I mean, Western states, while it is a negative, considered a negative race because it is mostly downhill, it still has tens of thousands of feet of elevation gain, and most of these 100 milers have tens of thousands of feet of elevation gain. How do you train for some of these big events? How do you get the legs ready to climb a mountain and then descend off of the mountain and technical terrain and all that stuff?
I found that it's not really the ascending that bothers me, but just I do a lot of just training to get my threshold pace um, more efficient, and so that it's a little easier for me to be efficient on those type of terrains. I'll do hill workouts, some VO2 thrown in there just to kind of keep that aerobic fitness really high, and it seems to do well. But we do have trails here that we have some decent sized hills. There's nothing compared to any mountains, but
Right.
you can still train and get the appropriate amount of training like that. It's been
So you're still getting like elevation in typical runs and stuff like that?
maybe like 500.
Oh man, that's crazy. Uh, 500 feet of elevation gain, and would that be in like a longer run?
Yeah, I think the best one I've had recently was I did an 18 miler that was like 1,500 feet of elevation. That's just rolling
Wow.
hills.
Wow. That's incredible because that's actually similar to Zach Miller, who we had on the show a long time ago, right after Lake Sonoma. I believe it was actually Lake Sonoma last year, and Zach was on a cruise ship for most of the training leading up to that, and the only elevation he could get was the stairwells. And he is such a fast runner, and you're such a fast runner. It blows my mind that maybe you don't need mountains to train for mountains. Do you do something different with the intensity? Because 100, like running a couple 100 feet of elevation compared to thousands of feet of elevation that you see some people in the Colorado mountains or Oregon or California, that's a vast difference. So is there a technique that you're using that is allowing you to kind of replicate big mountains by doing less elevation?
Not really. No, just like I said, just keeping that strong aerobic base there, um, and just mileage, kind of just that's the only way that I've been doing it.
It's worked. Obviously, it's worked. Um, so at Western, because Western also deals with a bit of elevation, altitude wise. Did you run into any issues with that at all at Western?
I noticed at the very top of um, like escarpment and everything, I was just a slightly lightheaded, but
Okay,
that went away right away when I started descending and down, and so I didn't have any other problems with that. And I've run track at like Gunnison and Alamosa, some of those tracks, and those didn't ever they affect you like for the fast races, but like I never got sick or anything from those.
got it. Do you like to pick faster races now? I mean, are you kind of going for the buffed out single track or less elevation type races, or is anything goes?
I'm kind of throwing out everything. Like this year, I'm gonna run Zane Grey just because I want to try something crazy.
That's awesome. Just on a whim.
Yeah, it's just something I wanted to do. I love to, throw myself out into unknown territory, and that one was definitely on the radar. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, how are you going to dictate training for that? Because for those who might not be familiar with Zane Grey, it's supposed to be one of the toughest foot races. It's supposed to be one of the hardest because it deals with technical terrain, tons of elevation. I believe it's at elevation. I think it starts at 6,000 feet or something like that. But it's just tough. I think last year got snowed out. I think they had to pull runners from the course due to concerns of hypothermia and freezing temperatures. Um, it's a wild card race. How are you going to train? Are you going to go to the course leading up to it at some point and get some feet on the terrain, or are you just going to kind of continue doing what you're doing?
I'm gonna wing it like normal.
That's awesome. I love that. Are you nervous at all about it?
Oh yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm also excited because it's like I have
Yeah.
no expectations. So just get out there and grind it out and do what you can.
So then, what else is on your list? I did not expect Zane Grey to come out as far as a race that you're going to run this year. Is there anything else that you're looking forward to doing? Maybe not this season, but maybe the season after. Are you thinking Europe or beyond?
Definitely want to travel overseas.
Cool.
Not this year, just because with logistics and work and everything, but definitely looking at some of those overseas ones that are calling my name.
Now you have a full-time job, yeah?
Correct.
How do you balance the full-time job with the full-time training? Because I know I've had a lot of guests on that do the same thing, and I'm always really curious because it can be tough. But I just, do you have any advice, tips for those who might be watching that want to do the same thing?
You definitely just have to make the time for it. Make it part of your routine. It's basically I'll work, come home, take care of the dogs, and then it's run time. So then after that, it's like wind down, get your recovery ready, and then get set for the next day. And if you're an organized person, it
Hmm.
makes it so much simpler. Just having everything set out ready for the week.
How many hours a week do you think you are training running wise?
Um, I potentially like around average 10, 12 sometimes.
Do you, yeah, does Jason have you doing timed based workouts or distance based training?
Time based.
Okay. Still,
I'm a
go ahead.
person. I always
What did you
I'm
say?
just I'm always like a distance person, so I always go with like however many miles. I've always been set like that. I don't know.
It's the same for me. That's how I train as well. It's like, oh, on a Saturday I need to run 18 miles. But I
Mhm.
know so many people that are like, oh, well, I need to run 3.5 hours, or the time based training. Um, so you run with a coach, Jason Coop, who's trained some pretty incredible athletes. How do you think that's changed your racing and your training? Has it influenced you for the better? Has it made you a stronger, faster athlete? Has it made you more disciplined, or all of the above?
All of the above. It's made me so much better that I am now focused instead of just going out for a run and, who knows what I'll feel like the day I used to before I had him as a coach. I would just go out and be like, I'll plan on 12. If it ends up 16, great. If it ends up 20, great. I just never had any type of plan. So this now makes me focused. I have workouts, everything like that, which really has helped improve just, physically, but mentally too.
That's pretty great. I had Ian Sharman on the show recently and talking about coaching and stuff like that, and it's one of those things. In my training, it's been, oh, maybe I don't need a coach, but you come to this point where, yeah, maybe you do. If you want to become a better athlete, you're only going to get yourself so far, but a coach can help you push beyond. So that's really cool to see the actual effects benefiting you. I want to remind those of you who are watching live, if you have any questions for Kaci, jot them down into the chat room because I will ask them live. We have a couple already. This question comes from Raul. Kaci, coming off of Black Canyon 100K, which I want to talk about here, was there anything you didn't mention in your race report that you learned from that race? Also, how is your IT band holding up?
Thanks for asking, Raul. My IT band's doing good. We took a couple weeks downtime, just kind of making it really easy on it. So that's about pretty much 100% back to normal. Other things that I learned is that you don't go from having 0 degrees to almost 90 degrees for a race. That was pretty hot and intense. I do know um, that was rough. It was manageable. That wasn't really what caused my um, DNF, but it could have definitely in the long run if I would have continued. So just knowing that, you know, get in the sauna if you're going to do something like that. That's a big goal. And then yeah, just making sure you're going into a race 100%. I had been dealing with that IT band a little bit. It kind of flared up throughout the last couple weeks of my training, and
Hmm.
I just was hoping that I was going to be able to get through it, but it was not happy. So definitely try to make sure that you're going into a race pretty much 100%. You'll have niggles and things like that you'll always have to race through, but make sure that you are making sure it's not like something severe.
So let's talk a little bit about Black Canyon. It was a DNF for you as someone who was sitting at home trying to follow the race as closely as possible. I know a lot of people out there didn't have cell signal to keep updates coming, but it was really tough to hear that you weren't able to finish. What happened that day, kind of leading up to that? I mean, you just mentioned some ITB flaring and stuff like that. Um, and was it the heat issues plus that combined? Was there something else? Was it nutrition? Would you have done anything differently?
Um, it was all going, I mean, the race was going great for me. I was with a group of girls. We were having a great time chatting and everything, and um, I was having no issues until about mile 22 when I started feeling that sharp pain, and it just kind of started continuing to get worse. And any of the technical downhill, it was getting to feeling like there was like a knife going through the bottom of my knee, and so it was really nothing that I could have prevented because it was going to happen regardless. It wasn't, anything training wise besides that. Nutrition was great. I was getting that all in. My hydration was well, but the heat hadn't bothered me yet. I'm pretty good at heat running, even though I wasn't acclimated to it. But it was mainly that the IT ban, and then I was starting to compensate and causing other issues to flare up. Any of the
Uh,
down, I was about ready to just sit on my butt and scoot down. But fortunately, I ran into, I guess unfortunately too, Zach Marion, who had some issues. He had gotten tripped up earlier in the race, and then he wasn't able to he had some pain going on and wasn't able to run either. And so he couldn't run the uphills, I couldn't run the downhills, so we were a good
Ugh.
pair into the two together. We made the best of it. We had actually a blast just laughing at ourselves at how ridiculous it was. So, you always make the best of every situation, even if it is bad and that you're going to DNF. Not all DNFs are bad. It can be good, and you learn from those.
Absolutely. And it's this, are you the type of runner that now has Black Canyon on your list of races you got to go back and get your revenge on? I mean, do you think you'll go back and race the race again?
It could be. It's not one that's like I have to go back and prove to myself because I know I could have finished it. It was just that IT ban was not going to happen. But I don't have any revenge against that race.
No, no negative thoughts or anything like that. That's good. That's good. There's a question that's kind of dovetailing into that, which I think is good. This is from Kimosabe75. Casey, I'm 7 weeks out from my first 50 miler, and my ITB has been kicking in late during my long runs. Any specific advice? How did you manage yours during the race?
Um, get started to foam roll, stretch it, do a lot of that. Even if you have to wear one of the IT bands around your leg for the time being, just to kind of help relieve it. Definitely do that. Start taking some Aleve to help with the inflammation around there. But definitely start working on it before it flares up too much. Otherwise, it's something that doesn't necessarily go away right away. And if you let it go, it's gonna get to be one of the worst injuries, and it's not easy to train or race on.
And that could be a chronic thing too, right? Like it could be something that flares up from time to time.
It could be. Sometimes a lot of it's dealing with like if you increase your mileage too much too soon. That's what I've noticed. And then also if you're doing a lot of like any type of fast downhill speed work, some of that stuff will potentially flare it up.
Now, are you also a physical therapist? Because I know that you went to, yeah. So you're speaking from experience and with an actual education behind all the research, which is good. So listen to her, people. Listen to Casey. She knows what she's talking about. If you're injured, take the time to heal. If you feel an injury coming on, take the time to remedy it as soon as possible, or it could take you out. You don't want to deal with that. This question comes from Max E. We touched a little bit on it already, but Casey, what are your goal races for 2015? So do you go into a season and go, this is my A race, these are my B races leading up to my A race, or do you just kind of have I want to have fun and go experience some cool places sort of mentality?
Kind of all of the above. I definitely have an A race as to go back to Western States and have a good finish to where I'm not having a beat down to even finish. So Western States is my A race, and then leading up to that, like Black Canyon was a B race.
Hmm.
Obviously, it didn't go well, but Lake Sonoma will be another one that I want to do for as a B race. Zane Grey is going to be just it's a crap shot, so
That's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited you're running that. That's so awesome.
we'll have fun there. And then like the training camps, I'm going to be doing a training camp the weekend after Zane Grey with my coach and Dylan Bowman. We'll be up in Colorado Springs
Love it.
doing some altitude training, and then Western States training camp. As for the fall, I haven't really pinned down anything necessarily. I have some ideas, but not anything that I can just say, yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, this question actually from IUS Running. Casey, do you put together your own race strategy, or does your coach advise you for that? Or do you guys collaborate? So this is a good one for this.
We definitely collaborate because we both, he works with me with my flexibility because he's very personalized with his coaching. And so it is definitely like he'll talk to me and we'll go into a race strategy. He's like, do what you always do. You love to run, go out there, run hard, and just enjoy it like you do. And it seems to work well.
I want to start talking about sponsorship. You released the news recently. It's really pretty awesome. You were approached by the Nike Trail Team, which you are now a member of. How did that all go down? That's incredible. And what's it been like for you to be on the team?
It's been amazing experience. I am so thankful. I cannot believe that like when I first found out that I was um, got an email from Pat, and he was like, "Well, I saw that things didn't go well with Pearl Izumi, and we were looking to see about having you sponsored with Nike Trail." And I just about dropped my jaw to the ground. I was freaking out. I was just enthralled by it. I still am. I still am like, pinch me. Is this real? Like, am I really a sponsored athlete by Nike? But they've been so wonderful, and I love the team. And the team is such a collaborative group that it makes me feel like I'm back in like college and high school where you have teammates to lean on and just feel like supportive with. So it's been really, really great.
Vargo and Alicia Shea are actually in town right now. They're just down the street. Do you get a chance to run with the team at all? Do you get a you talk about the team atmosphere, which I think is awesome to kind of have that. And there's actually been talk about that in the ultra running scene recently, about kind of this new team mentality, and rather than individual competitors, it's going to be kind of a team competition. Do you get to train with them, or do you get to see them on a regular basis? Have you had any sort of like Nike Trail Team summits or anything?
No, not currently or anything. I did meet them down in Black Canyon and got to hang out with them and bummed a ride from Chris and Alicia to the car. So that was really, really nice of them. And I
Did
got
Chris drive his new truck? Did he drive his shiny truck?
absolutely. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of the team too, and seeing Sally again at Western. That'll be exciting, and some of them will be there at Lake Sonoma. Alex will be there, and I'm sure a bunch of others. So it's just a blast. I remember seeing them at Lake Sonoma last year, and I was just like, that is so awesome. I wish I could be a part of that. And they just had such a great group going, and all the people that were out there crewing for Nike, I mean, they were so supportive of everyone. It was so great. And it didn't matter who you were running for, where in the pack you were, they were just very supportive. And I thought that was really awesome.
That's cool. Great question from Christopher Lucania. Does Casey get to work with the sponsors directly on new products? I've always wondered that, and I've wondered the same thing. As now a member of the trail team, do you get to work with them on new products, or have they shipped you anything like, "Hey, try this out. Let us know how to tweak," or any of that kind of stuff?
Sure, they send a lot of things. I'm really new still to everything because I just started in January with them. But they are always asking, what can we do with this? Can we change this? I just was sent an email about, like race uniforms, what we would prefer as a runner and things like that. So they do really well with like getting our feedback um, on different items.
That's excellent. Great question from JP, and this is something I wanted to talk to you about as well. Are you ever going to move from Omaha into the mountains? Is that anything that ever intrigues you to kind of get to the land where the trails go high and go far into the mountains and stuff like that? Or you're good in Nebraska?
Currently, I will stay in Nebraska because my family's here. My grandparents, my grandma would never fly or drive out that far, so I definitely am based here for now. And but my heart does belong over in California. I ever since I've been there, I've loved it. So hopefully one day I might be moving there.
Never know. Yeah, northern or southern
Yeah,
California.
California. Anywhere.
Just the land of the sunshine. We have been pretty damn lucky. Weeks as of late have been really, really sunny, except for this week. It started to rain and rain real hard. But
You need the rain.
yeah, we need the rain. We desperately need the rain. But we're not going to complain about a couple days of rain when 360 days of the year it's all beautiful and sunshine. Come, Casey, come join us on the West Coast, West Coast, Best Coast. Uh, This is from Marty E. I don't know if this is a Nebraska question, or perhaps it's an inside question. Casey, would you rather do 20 miles at Lake Z or Shram?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That is an inside Omaha question. Lake Zarinsky is what I live by, and I run that like daily.
Oh,
So
got it.
probably Shram because I don't get to go out there very often. And SRAM's pretty awesome. It's got some hidden elevation there. So I don't know, my heart belongs at Z, but I also love the trails. So both. I'll do 20 in the day at Z and then 20 later at SRAM.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever done like a 20 back to back like that?
No, no.
No, Ethan. Shut up, Ethan. That's actually another question regarding training. I've been asking elites this, any elites that I have on the show, because I'm training for my first 100 this year, and I did the Squamish 50-50 last year, and I kind of did a certain type of training on weekends. And I get this question from viewers a lot, and I always want to ask the elites, do you do back-to-backs, like big, long back-to-backs, or do you do a single long run per week and then maybe some sort of shorter recovery? Uh, how does that work for you, especially for the longer training for the longer distance races?
Definitely doing back-to-back long runs. That's really seemed to help me both physically and mentally, knowing that you go out for a long run on Saturday and you can get yourself out the door and do it again. Maybe it might be longer, so you have to just really mentally get yourself there because the race is 10% physical and 90% mental, and just getting yourself out the door to know that you're going to be spending a lot of time outside.
Yeah.
That's really helped me, and physically too. I think it's made me stronger also.
Yeah, you talk. I've often heard that 10% physical, 90% mental. How do you work your mental game? I know that you put in big mileage weeks, and I want to talk a little bit about that as well. But how do you, during those long mileage weeks, work on the mental game of it? Those times when you're just suffering, um, when all you have to get through those moments is your mind telling you not to stop. How do you train your mind?
A lot of times having a running partner, a training partner. Miguel, he's my training partner. We run basically almost every day together. That is so helpful because you guys, misery loves company. So
Yeah.
one of you might not be having a bad day and one is, and you can always, talk to each other and just, let's make it to here, kind of break down the run. You can always think of, post run rewards if possible, like a Diet Mountain Dew or anything like that. But it is
Pizza. It's always pizza for me. Pizza.
what kind of pizza?
Cheese and jalapenos and pineapple every time, and a
Nice.
beer, and a nice cold beer.
But yeah, it is a lot of just, you got to think about your goals and, you got to suffer through some of the hard runs in order to get the goals that you want. So
Mm. That's good. And yeah, your training partner Miguel. So you guys have been doing. You do most of your training together. Does he race as well with you at all? Is he signed up for Zane Grey? Is he going to put himself through that as well?
he's going to crew me. He's going to help crew
Yes.
and pace me, but he, uh, he definitely, like we train together. So we race basically the same races because we have the same training style. So it's really fun just to go out and hang out because we're best friends. So it's like going on trips, road trips, having fun. So we enjoy that.
A great question from Leah in the chat room, kind of regarding that. What kind of competitor are you? Are you driven more by competing against others or yourself, kind of pushing your own body forward?
I'm definitely against myself. I am always pushing myself past my limits, and I want to make sure that, you know, I look forward to having competition because it makes me stronger as a person, and like I, I, I just love to see if I can do better than what I did before, and so definitely I don't put targets on other people's like other women's backs or anything.
Yeah. When you and Miguel race with each other, do you push each other to, like, when you train together? I imagine you push each other to a certain point. In a race scenario, does that change? Does that dynamic become more intense? Does he try to get you to do more than you ever thought you were capable of, or do you guys just kind of race for yourself? Maybe together, maybe running together, but like Kaci is racing with Kaci, Miguel is racing with Miguel.
Yep, it is definitely. We always talk to each other, and be like, it's race your own race. Do not get caught up in anybody else's race, but your own. So we definitely have our own races.
How would you recommend people from around the country, people from around the globe, do you recommend they find a running partner or a running group? I know you belong to a number of running groups, or at least have participated in a number. You have tons of fans from your hometown, and runners alike. We had a question in here if you're ever going to come back and run with the Trail Nerds in Kansas City. Uh, how do you recommend people find those types of communities, find those individuals?
Um, just check out different websites that are, that are in local. Like we have the goats here, we have endorphins, we have the Omaha Running Club. There are so many different groups, even for like the small town of or small city of Omaha it has several. So if you just look around and at local races, they'll have, support groups and things like that. But you can hook up with people. We have a great running community here, which hooks people up. Um, that way you can find the right training partner. You can find the right pacing that you need. Or if you're a road runner, you want to stick with road runners. If you're a trail runner, you want to stick with trail runners. I mean, there's wide variety. Just make sure you tap into your resources that are available.
There's already chat going on in the chat room about my jalapeno and pineapple pizza choice. I don't mean to get off topic here, guys, but it is delicious because it is sweet and it is spicy. I encourage you to give it a shot. Casey, do you eat pizza?
Do I what?
Do you eat pizza? Are you a pizza fan?
Oh, yes. Margarita pizza for me.
That'll do it. Absolutely. And people are saying, "Hello, fellow goats." So you have tons of goats watching, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you
Go.
want to give them a shout out. Oh, great question from Joshua, and I wanted to talk about this race, Javelina 100. First place. Incredible to kind of follow along online and see it unfold. I've only heard legends of Javelina. I have yet to go. Jamil has been on the show before, an incredible athlete, an incredible race director, but Javelina is one of those hundreds that you just hear about and hear the stories coming about from that weekend. So following it this last year in 2014, it was really cool to follow your victory at Javelina. Oh, and of course I just lost the question because it scrolled away. Casey, was Javelina the perfect race for you that day? You didn't even look like you broke a sweat out there. And third overall, amazing race. First female, third overall. Incredible. Yeah. What was that experience like for you? Was that an easy day? Easy 100-miler day?
No, no hundreds easy, but thank you very much for the kind words. It was just a good race for me. I enjoy that kind of trail. I enjoy seeing so many people on the washing machine type style course.
Hmm.
I get so excited to run into people waving, high fiving the whole time. But it was basically like Jamil has put it. It's a party. It's just fun. You see all these costumes. You have the huge aid stations that are just remarkable. And for me, I I didn't have the race of my life, but I had a great race, and I can't be more than fortunate to have that kind of opportunity to race like that. And it was just a blast for me. I highly encourage that race if you're looking for a fun 100. Oh, cute! He's
I had a feel. I heard your dogs in the background. So this is the house dog. This is Sir Didymus, and so I had to introduce you guys. Hi.
Didymus.
But I know that you have your dogs too, and they're a huge part of your life. I follow you on Instagram. I love all the photos. I think Casey's gonna grab one of hers.
Oh, this is Molly. Molly's almost 15.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
She's like, what am I doing up here?
What is this? How many
Oh,
dogs do you have?
I have three. The other two are right here too. Come here, Mia. Mia, come here. This is Mighty Mia. She is my runner. She will run millions of miles with me and never
Oh
tire.
wow.
She's a monster of. And
Do you run with me often? Almost every run, or like once a week, or?
um, if she doesn't run, she's naughty. She likes to maybe find her toys and tear them up. But yeah, she comes out and runs quite often. Like yesterday, she ran, what is it, 16 miles with me yesterday. And
That's amazing. That's great.
she was not tired at the end still, so she's just an impressive little girl, but I love her to death.
I know that my viewers love meeting trail running dogs or dogs of the elite. So it's very nice to meet your pups. Super cute. Um, I definitely want to talk to you about recovery as well. So, do you have any tips or hints for the live viewers as far as leading up to a race and then the recovery afterwards? Do you go by any sort of mantra of take a week off for a certain distance, or do you go how the body feels, or do you like active recovery? Do you do yoga? Do you do anything like that to kind of help aid? I saw major licking going on. Um, any tips or hints?
Um, Definitely getting recovery right away. So for me, I'd like to make sure I'm rehydrating right away. You know, I take glutamine, get my protein in, certain things like that. I like to wear compression socks. That seems to help, especially with aiding in soreness. Otherwise, you know, stretching. I've learned that you gotta stretch. Even as a physical therapist, I'm terrible at it. So
Mm,
definitely learning to be proactive. And if you have to cross train for a while to recover. Light walking is great. The thing that you don't want to do that is just sit around and think, oh, recovery is great by just sitting. But even with like patients that I see, I have them post-surgical. We have to get them up either the day of their surgery for a partial knee, total knee. You know, recovery has been found that getting circulation to the area is highly beneficial versus just sitting and letting yourself get more sore by letting everything build up. So and my coach Cooper always says, you know, if you don't do anything on a rest day, at least walk, you know, 30 minutes just to get things moving. So I definitely think that's a huge recovery benefit.
that's excellent advice, and I'm going to be using that because today was technically my recovery day. But any time that I've taken a whole day and not done anything, or you know, you get caught up with work, or you get kind of caught up doing other things, you realize, oh, I haven't done anything today. Oh, that's fine. It's a recovery day. But that's great advice to even just go for a walk or something. You don't have to worry about distance or time. Just get the body moving. I'm going to use that. I'm incorporating that. I'm going to do something tonight. I don't know what. I'm probably going to eat pizza and count the calories, maybe something like that. We're kind of approaching the end of the actual live show before we move into the post show, where we kind of bombard Kaci with more questions from the chat room. But before I let her go and we move into the post show, I like to do a little thing at the end of every interview with an elite athlete, what's called the Quickie Question Quiz. So Kaci, what's going to happen is I'm just going to ask you a series of questions, and you're going to answer as quickly as possible. That's pretty much it. They're very easy. It's nothing to panic about.
All right.
You let me know when you're ready, and I'll blast off.
I'm good.
All right. What was your very first race?
Oh, this Shamrock Shuffle 2 mile.
Hey, not even a 5K, a full 2 miles. That's great. What is your favorite running movie?
Definitely ooh, the Western States one. Absolutely.
Trails or road?
I love both, honestly, to tell you the truth.
Ellie Greenwood also said both. So yeah, she's a fantastic athlete as well. Favorite place to run?
Lake Z.
Favorite post-race indulgence?
Definitely Diet Mountain Dew.
And your current running kicks?
They are my Pegasuses. I love them.
The new Pegasus are great, yeah. And finally, who is your favorite ginger product reviewer, ultra runner on YouTube that makes videos?
Who else but you?
Yes! Yes, correct answer. Yes. I found myself having to like be very specific with that last question because I can't just ask who's your favorite ginger because a lot of ultra runners are married to gingers. I found that, so they can't actually say Ethan. So unfortunately, yeah. So I had to be very specific. Again, Kaci, I have to thank you so much for taking the time out to join me on the show tonight. If you are watching live, stick around for a little bit of a post show. I'm going to let Kaci go right around 7 o'clock, so we have a couple of minutes to ask some rapid-fire questions of her. So if you have any more questions for Kaci, ask them in the chat room now, and we'll get to them in the post show. Before we go, though, Casey, where can people find you online? I have all of those items if you would like me to go through them. But I know on your website is pixieninjarunning.blogspot.com, and at Ultra Runner KC on Instagram. What's your Twitter?
It is at runner underscore Casey.
Yeah. Go follow her, everybody. Go follow Kaci Lickteig, an incredible athlete. Really, really great things are going to happen this year. I can just see it. Western States, she's going to be running Western States. And I'm finding out now, Zane Grey, that is going to be incredible. Really excited for you, Casey. And congratulations again on the sponsorship. It's really awesome. And I can't wait to see what happens for you this year. It's going to be really cool. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in live every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next week, we have Sage Canaday. He is back on the show because we're going to be talking all about his Olympic qualifying time at the LA Marathon the weekend after that. He's been doing a whole race series of videos leading up to it. It's going to be a big day for him, and I'm going to have him on the show next week before the big day so we can talk about how he's feeling, how his prep has been going, what beers he's drinking, and what shoes he's going to be wearing, all the good stuff. So tune in next Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for that, and stick around for the post show if you're watching live right now because it's going to be good. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in just a couple of seconds. Yes, thank you, Casey. That was awesome. That was really fun.
Yes, that was really cool.
You're a fantastic interviewee, I think is what it would. Great information. Really, really excited to see what happens this year for you. We already had a couple questions in the chat room. Where did it go? Oh yeah, Casey, what is your diet like? This is from Hito Hachi. Just wanted to know, kind of, do you have any specific diets? Are you vegetarian, or you're a meat eater, or do you eat certain things or not eat other things?
I eat everything. I don't have any restrictions. I'm not a big red meat eater, and it's not because I am vegetarian or anything, but I stick to a lot of, like, I love protein. I am a big yogurt fan. I love yogurt, egg whites, a lot of, fruits and vegetables. I'm big on, like, broccoli and apples, oranges, grapes, bananas, getting my protein in, but nothing specific. I'm pretty regimented. I eat the same things basically, lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Dinner's different usually, but yeah, nothing too crazy.
Do you find yourself after races just being able to gorge on anything and not really worrying about what it is? Just, give me the food, put it in.
Yeah, Freak Brothers pizza after Javelina is the bomb. I mean, oh, that's the best pizza ever.
This one is from Rick Thomas, and he says, question from the wife, what advice would you give a new runner who might be prone to injuries?
Definitely work yourself into running slowly. So, you might not be able to run as many miles as you want. So cross training is a great alternative. Making sure you're in the right type of shoe. Even getting a gait analysis would be great, just so that you know what you need to work on for form if there is issues that you're having injury. Because injury is definitely something that you can work on because you shouldn't be injured, and there's reasons for that. So going to a professional and seeing what's going on is highly recommended.
I can't believe I didn't ask this question during the show. I even had it written down. I glazed over it. From Kyle Roy. Casey, where did you get your handle, Pixie Ninja?
Oh my gosh. So it's kind of a combination. From Miguel and my friend JC. She saw me running on the Zarinsky Dam once, and I was running like into the wind, doing a workout, and she saw that I was like, she like looked at me. She's like, "You look like a ninja." And then when I was running with Miguel, I'm always in the front. Like, I don't like running behind people. It makes me feel like I'm going to trip. And he would watch me run, and he's like, "You look like a pixie bouncing along the trail." And so they kind of went together, and so it's now the Pixie Ninja.
So, I mean, do people, when they see you in a race or out on the road, do they yell, "Yeah, Pixie Ninja"? Or is it still Casey? I mean, did your mom call you Pixie Ninja?
I get called that quite often. They'll be like, "Oh, I saw the pixie ninja, running, had to wave," and so yeah. Um,
This is actually something I just mentioned your mom, and I realized I wanted to talk to her or talk about her during the show as well. I love following you on Instagram because you'll often post photos of your mom running races. Um, has she always been a runner? Has she kind of gotten into it because of you? You're always there to support her. You're running the races as well. I think that's really cool. Tell us a little bit about her and her running.
like I said, she's the one that got me into running. She stopped smoking and decided that she wanted a healthy habit instead of smoking. So she decided to run. Then we signed up for that Shamrock Shuffle, the 2 mile. Woo, that was long for us. So
Yeah.
we did that and we ran that race, and ever since then we've been hooked together, and we love to, we trained for our first marathon together. It was such an incredible experience. I'll never forget. And since then, she's got the love for running. I got the love for running, and yeah, we work with each other to make goals and things like that.
Does she ever get concerned about the ultra distances or anything like that? I mean, my mom is freaking out that I'm running 100 miles.
No,
Uh, you know, as a mom, does she get freaked out about that, or does she understand?
oh, she's ran the 50 miles before. She runs ultras. She's not ready to do the 100 or anything.
Yeah.
Um, she loves the ultra distance, and she's more than happy to help. She's not scared of it for me to run or anything. My grandma, on the other hand, she's nervous about me running ultras.
Really?
But that's they'd never, running was a punishment for them back in the day, and so for her it's like that's just crazy to run 100 miles. But she's
Right.
learning that it's doable, and people do it that aren't completely crazy.
Has your grandma ever been to an ultra that you've run or witnessed you after crossing the finish line?
No, she hasn't. They're really long for them to sit and wait for. She does like the half marathons and marathons. She'll come to the finish line and she sees those. So, but I wouldn't have her sit out there for 5, 6, 7 hours.
That's a good point. I think during my first 50 miler, my family was in town, and they all sat and they waited. And I remember crossing the finish line and going up to them like, "I am so sorry to make you wait,"
Yeah,
because it's a long time. It's a long time for people to just like sit and wait for you to finish. In an ultra, there's not so much spectating.
yeah.
You can be at an aid station, but that's about it. If you could run anywhere on the planet, if whether it's a race or whether it's a trail, do you have that dream list yet? Do you have a place that's like, at some point I have to go here?
Um, Anywhere I'm happy running. So it could be, as long as it's not a treadmill, anywhere outside. I love just exploring. I think that's the best way to go to a new city is to get out, get your shoes on, go out for a run and explore, whether it's roads, trails, whatever. But yeah, I want to explore everywhere. So no concrete list or anything.
Yeah. Uh, are you on the mindset where you would pick a race in a destination because you want to explore the area, or are you open to the idea of? In my mind, I'm thinking rim to rim to rim. I would love to go do that as an adventure and kind of experience it over the course of a weekend. It's something that's been on my list for years. Just haven't been physically able to do it. I didn't feel like I was physically able, but I'll finally be able to do it hopefully this year. Or would you rather pick a destination that has a race so you can kind of get a sanctioned look at local trails? Would you have a preference, adventure or race?
Typically I like to go with racing. That way, the race is set there. I don't have to like try to figure out where the trails are or anything like
Mm,
that. 'Cause
yeah.
I would get lost if I didn't know where, if there wasn't a sign saying go that way, not this way. So I definitely like the race aspect of going out to vacation, basically.
Um, Well, I think that's it. It's 7 o'clock. I'm gonna let Casey go. Um, Again, thank you so much for taking the time out tonight, Casey. It was really awesome to talk to you. Can't wait to see what happens this year. Stoked for you, cheering for you the whole way, and I know all the live viewers are as well. Thank you for being so nice and honest and taking the time out tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to be on the show.
Of course, and thank you for always jumping into the chat room and saying hi. I know that the live viewers love to see that as well. So don't forget, go follow her on Twitter. It's at runner_KC. On Instagram, it's ultrarunnerKC. And pixieninjarunning.blogspot.com. So go check out. She just did a recent race recap of the Black Canyon 100K, so kind of goes through the DNF and the whole process leading up to that. So go read that, go support, and that's pretty much it. I thank you guys again for tuning in live. Come back next week. It's going to be a good show with Mr. Canada. Can't wait to pop a beer and hopefully have this congestion gone so I can actually enjoy it. That's pretty much it. Get out there, train hard, race hard, and party hardest, guys. And follow me on Twitter. It's at The Ginger Runner. Facebook, facebook.com/The Ginger Runner. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Ginger Runner. Like and favorite this live stream right now. Just go click that thumbs up if you liked it. I hope you did. Both Casey and I had fun, so maybe you guys did too. That's it. See you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye.